What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Rats Report. It is time to talk about the Toronto Raptors because we are less than 48 hours away from the NBA trade deadline. And we got some very fascinating news about the Toronto Raptors. So let's get into today's video. If you want to hit the subscribe button, make sure to do that. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well for the latest Raptors thoughts as well. So let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Phil Gaps. So Phil Gaps, thank you so much for supporting this channel. To your likes and comments, it is very much appreciated. Now, we got a very interesting trade news because we hear a lot of trade rumors regarding every single team, and one of the trade rumors that we heard regarding particularly the Raptors forward Chris Boucher is that a ton of Western Conference teams were interested, and it seems like one of the teams that actually proposed a trade to the Toronto Raptors regarding Chris Boucher, and this was being reported by Brett Siegel, who was reporting prior to trading PJ Tucker to the Jazz, the Clippers made an offer to the Raptors for Chris Boucher. Sources tell Clutch Points Toronto remains fixated on being involved in larger deals and has been in the works with a few teams on trades before Thursday. Now, this is obviously massive news because we obviously have heard about Jimmy Butler potentially going to, the Suns. Now we're hearing that he might be going to the Warriors, even though he said that he's not going to re-sign. The Warriors are so desperate to help Steph Curry. Seems like they'll do anything, which even means acquiring Jimmy Butler. But in terms of some of the three-team deals, we obviously talk about players like Bruce Brown that could be helped to initiate some salary movement as well. But that is not the only three-team deal that the Raptors could help. Again, you obviously know that De'Aaron Fox got traded to the Spurs. Zach LaVine is no longer a Chicago Bull, but there is still another player that could be traded. That is Brandon Ingram. So that's where I think if there's a three-team trade involved, it could be potentially Brandon Ingram. Whether the Toronto Raptors are getting him or not, maybe Brandon Ingram is going to another team, and the Raptors are maybe just helping facilitate this trade as well because of his large salary. And again, Bruce Brown, expiring contract in today's NBA, to have the luxury that the Raptors do right now with not only Bruce Brown's $23 million expiring, you also got Chris Boucher. He's making $10 million expiring. So whether the Raptors want to be that third team and initiate big salaries, about $33 million, or whether they want to do this individually and trade Bruce Brown by himself and then maybe trade Chris Boucher in another deal as well, because there's going to be a lot of desperate teams like the Warriors trying to find players to help, obviously, Steph Curry and then just really help their team overall. But even in terms of the Toronto Raptors, now, I want to quickly touch upon the Clippers here because they offered the Raptors a trade proposal for Chris Boucher, which very likely, let's be honest, it probably was PJ Tucker and a second-round pick. And if you ask me, that is not a great return, guys, especially when you consider how much Chris Boucher is actually going to help the Clippers. He's a high-energy player that can give you points, that can give you rebounds, and if he catches fire, we know what he's capable of doing from the three-point line as well. So to get a second-round pick, which is, let's be honest, it's probably going to be 47, 48, 49. It's not a great value for someone like Chris Boucher. If you are going to trade him, it would be nice to take on multiple second round contracts, and especially in a PJ Tucker type of situation as well, right? Where he's kind of in a weird situation where he's not really going to play and you're just kind of taking on that money in exchange. You're giving the Clippers a decent role player as well. So again, in terms of some of the trade proposals, in terms of just doing individual deals for the Toronto Raptors, and particularly for Bruce Brown and Chris Boucher, you're probably going to have to take on bad salary. And again, that makes future moves so much more difficult for a team like the Toronto Raptors. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this particular trade rumor, but also I'm very curious to hear what the Raptors are planning behind the scenes when they talk about they want to be involved in multi-team deals as well. So it'll be very fascinating. Again, less than 48 hours to go. So let's see what happens in terms of deals being made. But we also got some other news relating the Toronto Raptors yet once again to, you heard it, Brandon Ingram. So it's being reported by Jake L. Fisher. NBA Central was reporting on Twitter that Toronto's interest in Brandon Ingram is real, according to Jake Fisher. Now, I told you guys this last video, we talk about Bruce Brown, but if there's a situation where the Raptors may want to trade RJ Barrett, this is going to be it. Some people are going as far as to suggesting that the Raptors could look to move someone like Emmanuel quickly and try to acquire Brandon Ingram. Instead, I don't see that happening for several reasons. The Pelicans, already have CJ McCollum there, who they probably want to get rid of. Let's be honest. They got DeJounte Murray. Yes, I know he's out for the season, but how's that really going to work there? Is that really an ideal situation for Emmanuel Quickly and particularly the Pelicans? Not necessarily. And even when you think about this from the Raptors' point of view, now all of a sudden you have Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, both, I mean, three kind of, I don't want to say same position because they can definitely all play different positions. And I'm not saying it's impossible to have a lineup of, all three of those guys, but it's just not ideal, guys. It really isn't. Especially if Brandon Ingram is initiating the offense, then you got Jakob Poeltl, you got RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, who, I mean, Jakob can't even shoot threes, but in terms of some of those other players, not a great deal, guys. Not a great lineup in general speaking. And then who's going to play the point guard position, right? So too many question marks around that potential lineup. So I do think if there is a situation where the Toronto Raptors do look to trade for Brandon Ingram, it is definitely going to be RJ Barrett if it's not Bruce Brown's expiring contract involved in a trade as well. But again, it seems very interesting because Brandon Ingram's name has been out there, and the Toronto Raptors in particular have been linked quite a bit to Brandon Ingram these last several weeks. Will they make a trade for him? Let's see. Now, we've got our last news to report here, and this was regarding Jakob Poeltl and the LA Lakers. Now, NBA Central was reporting that the Lakers have contacted the Toronto Raptors about Jakob Poeltl, according to Michael Grange. The Raptors reportedly seeking a first-round pick for Jakob Poeltl. The Lakers have inquired about him, but the sense is that the Raptors are holding out for an offer that includes a first-round pick, likely with a certain level of protection. And the only one the Lakers have left to offer is a 2031 first. They've been clutching on tightly for years. Now, if I'm the Toronto Raptors, a 2031 pick would have been great a week ago when Luka Doncic, a 25-year-old superstar, wouldn't have been on the LA Lakers. But if you're asking about now, I'm not too certain. Again, we don't know what the future looks like. Sure, you could make that argument, but it is the LA Lakers. They always attract big names, and free agency, they are always big players as well. And again, Luka Doncic is going to be 31 by then, which is absolutely insane to think because 2031 seems so far away, yet Luka's still going to be just only 31 years old, which just kind of goes to show how great he's been. But again, all of the Luka talk aside, the Toronto Raptors and the LA Lakers have, obviously talked about Jakob Poeltl before. It's been reported. And Michael Grange, I know people do not take him seriously, but this is something I can honestly see the Lakers trying to acquire, particularly after the AD trade. They are now left worse than ever before. They don't really have a good starting center, and they definitely need one. And Jakob Poeltl kind of fits into what they need. You think of Luka Doncic, you think of LeBron James, both passers, and you think of someone like a Jakob Poeltl. He's a good, smart passer. He's a good defensive sound player. He also sets picks really well for a center, which is what you need exactly from a center, and you'll get a lot of mismatches with Luka. You'll get a lot of mismatches with LeBron James, and you need a center on a particularly that type of roster to be able to do these type of things. So I think Jakob would fit very, very nicely there, and it shouldn't really be an age concern. I know people are going to say, well, they want to build around Luka, which is completely fair. But you also got to keep in mind if they are keeping LeBron long term, they obviously want someone who can contribute now. So age shouldn't really be a factor. And again, it's not a bad deal when you honestly consider what the centers around the league are going for. I mean, you got the Portland Trail Blazers who are asking for an unprotected first for Robert Williams, and he's been very, very injury prone. So again, I don't think the asking price is too high for a Toronto Raptors team. Probably a top 10 protected would be nice. Maybe a top 8 protected. I just don't see a lot of teams doing that though, but we'll see what happens. But I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are on all of these rumors. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question for today is, since we're talking about Jakob Poeltl, which country was Jakob Poeltl born in? Was it A, Australia? Was it B, Austria? Was it C, Germany? Or is it D, Netherlands? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for the latest news. Make sure to turn on your notifications because I'm coming up with videos very, very often. And you want to stay tuned as soon as the video gets uploaded because I'm trying to get you the news as quick as I can. So make sure to stay tuned with that. And thank you once again for watching this video. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.